Now we're live talking about
Yeah,
counterfeiting comics.
yeah, but I don't think people who collect comics would find it believable if a couple of Action Comics number ones started popping up.
I would think if one like, and I would think the way you'd have to do it, because you'd need paper of the period. So you could take
Mhm.
some other random comic, fictionize it, bleach the paper, and then figure out you'd have to know a lot about printing and printing of the time in order to do it.
Mhm.
I'm just saying it surprises me that no one has done it due to how much money is involved. Um, like if you could make yourself an Action Comics number one, or even like a Batman number one,
Mhm.
another 3.5 Batman number one on the market wouldn't even. I don't even think people would notice. People, there's. I was just reading about some collection that was just discovered. You can say it's from some collection.
Yeah. Well, and how much would it cost? I mean, you're not trying to print a bunch of copies. You just need one, maybe two or
One
three.
copy.
One copy.
I'm
Okay.
saying it would. I can't imagine making one copy of Batman number one to look exactly like a Batman number one would cost more than 50 grand.
I wasn't
And
even
the
going
return,
that hard. I
yeah,
was probably going
that's
to
what
say
I'm
something
saying.
around it. I was probably going to think about $750.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking the highest number I can.
Yeah. Well, the highest number I was envisioning was 3,500. It wasn't
Yeah,
50,000.
like
So yeah, you
it
can
would. Well,
potentially multiply that by 100,
yeah.
and you'd have a tidy profit. Yeah.
Listen, if if they counterfeit money, the guy who counterfeits money has to know about the printing process
Hmm.
enough that he could counterfeit a Batman number. I'm not even saying a Detective 27. You don't want to get that greedy. A Batman number one. Um, and you would, I said, I would think that you'd be able to do it, but I've never heard of it being, maybe it's been done and we don't know. They're CGC'd and, like I said, I'm not sure. Let's see. We got a comment from Eric P. If I was going to counterfeit an early comic, I would do something like Action 14 or Batman 34 because those would be worth money, but they're not going to be millions. Yeah, you would think. You would think there'd be more counterfeit comics out there. I would think if crooks had some imagination.
Hmm.
And think how much. If you're a counterfeiter trying to counterfeit U.S. greenbacks, think about how much less trouble you'd get in trying to counterfeit Action Comics 14.
Yeah. Tell how much is let me see. How much is Action Comics number 14 worth?
I don't know.
Okay.
The crime makes you stupid. Yeah,
Uh,
they could just
a,
not know
C,
about it.
a CGC copy goes for 350 to 400,000.
Yeah,
Not CGC copy. GoCollect.com says going from $550 to $12,000.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, if it costs like I imagine it costs 750,
Yeah.
you're probably not gonna make your money back, even with something from 1939 like Action Comics number 14.
Well, you'd get a CGC'd, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
You'd
right.
have
Then
to
yeah,
be if you couldn't fool CG, you'd want to be able to fool CGC.
yeah.
That would be
If you
sort of
can
the
fool CGC, no, you can fool everybody.
right. And I'm sure CGC does not do paper tests or anything to test they just look at the paper.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't even. I'm sure they don't even look at the printing in terms of. I mean, if they opened one and something looked off, they might look closer at it. But they've opened one and the printing doesn't look off. They'll be like, "Oh, okay."
Hmm. Okay. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And funny thing, action number 13 is a key. It's not 14. 14 is
Right.
number 13 is the first appearance of the Ultra Humanite.
Well,
And
Eric P says also if it is slabbed, only CGC is really looking at it. Yeah.
yeah, because people aren't cracking the seals to make sure.
Yeah. Missing Mars says CGC going to up their game and price now when they see this podcast.
Yeah, CGC has a spy watching us every week to see what we say about them.
But I would no. If I was a counterfeiter, I'd much rather be counterfeiting something that doesn't get me in trouble with the federal government.
Yeah. So yeah, let's do number 14, second appearance of the Ultra Humanite.
And if they know how to make printing plates for money, they can make a printing plate for Action Comics number 1. Mm-hmm. I'm sure of it.
Even then, well, but no, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, because for money they're trying to do a bunch of them. For comics, yeah. If I were to print a copy of Action number 14 on modern paper, that'd probably go for those 7, just one copy. Well, I'm not sure if it would be $750. It would probably be a little bit less.
I think it would. Yeah, it would. You would have to, if you were going to print it on modern paper, you'd have to not CGC it and sell it to somebody who thought they were getting a deal.
Right, but I'm just trying to see how. I'm trying to. So, if I print 16 sheets of paper plus 1 sheet for the cover, how much would that go for? That'll probably be easier to find out.
Like, how much could you get all that done for?
Yeah, on modern paper, even if it's if it's thin paper.
Well, there are guys who restore comic books. We'd have to ask their price. But I'm sure it's less. What they do is they scan in a comic and then they clean it up in Photoshop. Basically, they have their ways of doing that, and I'm sure that's $100 a page, $200 a page at most, because that's how Fantagraphics gets their stuff done. It's less than getting an original page of art done. Yeah. Missing Mars says it's going to carbon date the paper by burning a portion of the page. Yeah. And also, like I said, get an old comic book, bleach it.
But do CGC carbon date the paper? They don't carbon date the paper. I'm not even sure you can carbon date something that's 70 years old.
Yeah, I don't think so. Eric P says, I pulled Action 14 out of thin air. Obviously, someone would look at a $750 investment and look for something that was going to bring in $1,300 or more.
Of course, yeah, but Action Comics number 14 still brings in the big bucks because it's still close enough to number 1. But it's not a key. So people wouldn't mind having an Action number 14 if the opportunity arose. But they're not looking for it for the usual reasons. If you try to do an Action Comics number 114, yeah, that's not worth the investment. But number 14 still is if it's CGC.
P says, I think Tit Goblin is the CGC spy. Those Canadians are tricky.
Yeah.
Keep your eye on them. Yeah, but
again,
you would think that'd be
number 14. Yeah, it's still close enough to number 1. It's still a late 30s comic, so it'll still be worth something. 114. It's late 40s. It probably wouldn't be worth the investment to fake a copy.
If you were trying to take fake a copy of a $1,200 book, you'd try to bring it in for $100 in a couple days' work, which means you wouldn't be trying that hard.
Right.
You'd be getting some paper that sort of looks like that paper. You'd be printing on your inkjet.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you try to do a 1952 Western comic from from American Comics Group, no, that would not be worth the investment because you can still actually find Westerns from the 50s for $5 to $10 because Mike Smith keeps finding them all the time. He buys a bunch of Golden Age comics and he finds Golden Age comics for $5 to $10. They're just not the things that are on most people's minds.
Eric P says, okay, Jared, I have a comic from this past week recommendation for you. Assorted Crisis Events #6. I've been hearing lots of good things about that one. I have been meaning to check it out. Yeah, which I don't recall seeing it. No, I haven't. The name kept me away from it. Just because, it's an indie book. I think it's by Image. And, Assorted Crisis Events just, of course, makes me think superhero crossover parody of some kind.
Yeah.
But it's supposedly good. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And it is, I think it's sort of a parody. It takes its roots from that, but it does some interesting things. So I've seen reviews of. So I definitely want to check that one out.
Assorted Crisis Events. Well, the covers look interesting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. But you would be hard pressed to look at the covers and think they're doing a superhero event parody. Although
says it's not a parody, that issue was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
in the
title,
in the best way, heartbreaking. What was that?
The title itself probably calls out attention that way, so you look at it.
That is why I have kept away from Assorted Crisis Events. Just made me think it's at its heart something to do with Crisis on Infinite Earths, superhero crossovers. But like I said, I've been hearing good things about it since like issue 2 or 3, so I keep meaning to check it out. But I got 12 comics this week. So lots of stuff. And one wasn't there. Roy, the owner, was like, because what happens is Roy has the comics delivered to his house. So he can sort them all and then sort them all on Tuesday night and then bring them into the shop on Wednesday morning or something like that. And he forgot. I had an oversized one that I ordered. What is it? It's the first one I ordered. Do you remember the series A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance?
Yeah.
Came out like 2-3 years ago. I think Rick Remender wrote it. I forget who the artist was, but he was good. A lot of detailed stuff. But Image has been putting out, I think, what do they call them? They call them something like something editions. They're printed at 11 by 17 in black and white so you can see the art. But they're not printed like artist editions because they're mostly digital. So it's just you can really see the ink work that's going on. And they're not cheap. I think this one was like $20. Like I said, but it's 11 by 17 and it's like 64 pages. It's 2 issues worth. And they've been putting them out over the last few years. And I've just never wanted to pay $20 to buy one. So finally with this one, I decided to, because I was like, all right, I like the art on this one. But I won't get it till this upcoming week, because he left it at his house. Otherwise, I would have had a 13th comic. Did Wilson's class get canceled? There he is. Did your class get canceled?
It got postponed to next week because the students were not ready.
I know that story.
Yes, so that's so luckily I had sent out a text, hey, are we still on for today? Because it was the time that I got to get ready to go, and I didn't want to show up and go, yeah, they're not ready. So luckily I got the text back and it's like, unfortunately not, we're going to postpone it to next week because they are not ready. And last week they said they would be ready. So
Oh, I've heard that story.
Mhm. Shouldn't you just say, it doesn't matter if you're not ready? Today's lecture will be
No,
on.
no, because they have to have their work to work on. They
Uh,
have to be
yeah,
finished with stage 2 before Wilson can teach them about stage 3.
exactly.
Otherwise, they won't remember. Trust me.
Uh-huh.
Sleepy reader, howdy.
hey.
Welcome, welcome.
I mean, it's in teaching my classes. Sometimes it's a good thing I don't mind repeating myself because I have to, I have like 8 to 12 students in a class. But usually what I do, we have a big monitor that's hooked up to my computer because I'm showing them how to do computer stuff, Illustrator, Photoshop. I'm teaching them tasks most of the time. So I show them how to do. I'm on the big board. I'm on the big board. I'm following like, okay, you do this step, then this step, then this step, and then when they have to do it, I pretty much have to go to nearly each one and then explain it to them individually too, because they've already forgotten since I showed them up on the big board.
Right.
So if they don't have their work done, they're really not going to remember when they have to do it next week.
Unfortunately so. And it's like, I try to put myself in their shoes and think about, okay, as college was different for me and I wasn't going to school for the purpose of comic books.
Oh yeah.
So my mindset at that point in time would probably have been different,
Oh
being
yeah.
able to speak to people who's working in the industry.
Yeah.
I know I would have a completely different mindset than they currently do. And it's like, but it's, again, it's like, I don't know why,
That they
it's
also have a lot
yeah,
more classes than the one.
right.
Like in
That's
my
true.
classes, like I said, since I'm mostly teaching them tasks kind of thing, they're doing their work on the computers. I try to like keep homework to a minimum because I know they got drawing classes, they got painting classes, they got an illustration class where Ed teaches them comic books, and there's a lot of drawing in a You know how
Right.
much work it is to make a comic book,
Yes.
and students don't know how much work it is to make a comic book and until they try to make one, and they never have enough time. So it's like I try to keep the outside the class work to a minimum
Yeah.
because I
So
just
I,
know
I,
they're
I would need to keep that in mind because,
yeah,
again, at that point of time, of that very second, the only thing that exists is that class.
right.
And, you try to explain it, and half of them glaze over.
Oh
And it's
yes,
like, okay, so here's how to do it. And then you show how to
you
do it.
you
And
got to
it's
get
like,
them hands on immediately.
yes. And
Well, I
there's
can
things like,
tell. I can tell when I got because what happens is, like I said, just like you're doing right now, I'm teaching them tasks. So I go out, I'm talking about the task, and if I go on too long, I can tell I'm losing them. So I'm
right.
like, all right, let's get hands on. And you teach them the first part, and then you teach them the set. It's like you got to get them as hands on as much as possible, or you lose them completely.
Yeah. And again, try to be patient. And it would be like, do you have any questions? Never have a question. But then when you're doing it, then a question will pop up in the middle
Yeah,
of the task. And okay,
right. That's when the
what is it
questions
that
are.
what's your question? And they ask the questions like, okay, this is exactly what I'm explaining is how to get to that, and this is how
Right.
we get to that. Any
You'll
questions?
find. How do I get
They
to that? It's like,
Yes. So
oh
it's
yeah.
it's like, again, trying to be patient with them, but at the
Oh
same time,
yeah.
it's like, okay, we'll explain it again, and most of the time you can get to it, but
Right.
it's
They'll
it's
get it
it's
eventually.
it is a thing,
Most
yeah.
of it. But yeah, you got to be really patient and realize. Sometimes I forget that they don't know much. Like they're especially nowadays. Like when I started 6, 7 years ago, most students knew the computer. Maybe half the students were really good, on the computer. Half of them not so good. But now I get students who don't know command copy and command paste because they've never been on computers. They've used
Right.
tablets their whole lives.
Yeah,
So I
that's
have
the
to
other thing I
remember.
noticed as well. When I was talking last week I was talking about lettering,
Uh-huh.
and they were given a task. They were given, you know, sorry, my my illustrator just crashed. Okay.
He's
I was trying to
distracted
make a
by it.
logo. Uh-huh. Okay, so we'll report that. So, uh, talking about, okay, here are some sample fonts. Here is, how you go to test out lettering and this and that. And the questions came up, oh, how do you load the fonts to a tablet? Like, I have
I don't
no idea
know.
if you can, because you should be lettering on a computer. Why, but they're working on a tablet. And
Mhm.
again, and unfortunately, you just don't know what they don't know,
Yeah.
and you don't know what programs that they're not aware of.
And
And
sometimes I forget how little in it. I got a deep knowledge of stuff that I take for granted sometimes. It's like I have to not.
yes, yes, and again, using the school's computers, and you
Yeah.
realize how many actions that you
Oh,
do
yeah.
without realizing, oh, how do I do this? So
I you know what I say to
there's a
my
few good 20 minutes trying to figure out how to set up that computer so I could work on it.
Oh, yeah. There's that. You know what I say to my students all the time too? When they're asking me what key command does that, I'm like, "Hold on, let me look at my hands."
Yes, because you're not
Because I
sure.
do them as a matter of course, and I'm like, "What key?" And you've asked me what keys I'm hitting, I might not know.
I got into the habit of probably because of the first class that I taught years ago. I got into the
Uh-huh.
habit of saying out loud what I'm currently doing
Yeah, me too. I
when I'm
try, but
lettering or
sometimes
any. Yeah,
it's when I'm
when
not doing it, when I'm, like, over their shoulder, and they're like, "What was that thing you did?" And I'm like, "Hold on. Let me
yes,
look at my hands.
mhm,
Command, Option, Shift. There we go."
yeah. So down to the point where it's like, and I've recorded myself a few times,
Yeah.
you know, teaching stuff, and then I would put it on my YouTube channel, and it would be like, learn just saying everything I'm doing out loud. That this is
Uh-huh.
command whatever, or command, hit save, doing this each and every step, because sometimes I realized I would be faster than the computer and do something and not think about it. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Right,
how did you do
right.
that? How did I do what? Oh, I didn't realize that. So
Uh-oh,
it's
I
one of those
skipped a
things.
step, a basic step. Sometimes I hit them to I say, "Hit Command All and Command Copy." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, Command A and Command C." Because
Right.
that's Command All and Command stuff like that.
Yeah, and then
Sleepy
it's like,
says,
again, making
"Good for you,
shortcuts.
Jared, keeping the bigger picture in mind." Yeah, I try
Mhm.
to.
Yep.
I'm the it might be the most important class in my life, but it might not be the most important class in their lives.
True. And that's the thing. It's like, again, it's part of those. When I talk about it, I say, well, here's something that I learned over the years, that you never know what you're going to get hired to do.
Yeah,
And again, it's like, some people have a goal set in mind. I'm going to work in comics. I'm
right.
going to do this one thing, and that's what they're
Why do I have to
concentrating in.
learn something that's not directly related to my goal? And you're like,
Right.
"Listen, you don't
Yes,
know
your
what
goal.
life's gonna throw at you."
Never know. I've spoken to many artists. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to work in comics unless I'm working on Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, that's a good plan. You let me know how that works out for you.
You don't
It's like,
think I'm not gonna get to work on Spider-Man? I don't know, but you may wanna plan something else too.
yes,
Mhm.
you may
Superman is
want,
still out there.
you're competing with everybody who's currently drawing Spider-Man, and all your friends who wants to draw Spider-Man. And we
And the
can't
people
say
have
that now, but there was a time that Spider-Man only had one book. Now you got up to 5 chances, but still.
Yeah.
You can make a plan. Okay, in 10 years, I want to be the main artist on Amazing Spider-Man. And if I can't, I quit. Unless, of course, they're actually making money and figured out they're there to make money.
Right.
But
you never know.
You never know, and you kind of need that. I say starting out in comics, you kind of need a bit of that cockiness that you're going to do this. You're going to go ahead and you're going to, become
I'll
something.
be that one. That's one of the panels from Art School Confidential.
Is it?
Yes. In Art School Confidential, the Daniel Clowes, which was about Pratt in the 1980s, there's a teacher at the we used to repeat it all the time in Marvel with my purchase friends. There's a teacher at the head of class saying, only 1 out of 10 of you will ever do anything in the arts. And the thought balloon above every one of the students' heads was, I'll be that one.
Yeah.
So that's what me and Bunch and Ed and John, as we sat there pacing up balloons, we'll go, I'll be that one. I'll be that one.
That's great. Yeah, but it's like, I understand, to keep you going, you gotta, especially when you're first starting out, and you don't know what you don't know, so you can be cocky.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this, and for some people they could do it. For other people, they realize, you know what, I'm happy just doing this or that. So
yeah,
again, you just never know what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be that one.
I'll be that one. Speaking of being that one of the things I got this week was the first Robert Crumb comic in, I think they said 18 years.
Really?
No, hold on.
Was he not producing artwork, or he was just not?
No, he hasn't been. He's 84.
Okay.
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 And I don't think he's been, producing anything. He hasn't been. And his wife died a few years ago.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
A lot of words in this one. So far, I've only read the first story. And what? Oh, look at this. Conspiracy theories. It's called Tales of Paranoia. And this little bar there says, warning, this comic is not popular entertainment. And amazing. I had to pull this off my shelf because the first story is the only one I've read so far. What is paranoia? And it's best summed up by, I've always remembered, this is Hate number 3. And on the back of Hate number 3 is a little cartoon, What is a Buddy? That's all about his roommate describing Buddy Bradley. And there's this one panel right over there, this one, that says, it points to the 2 people that Buddy's talking to. You guys going to see the Ramones? Why? You're only encouraging those fools to postpone their long overdue retirement. What's worse than going to see the Who? That's worse than going to see the Who or the Stones, for Christ's sake, for God's sake. Then it says above them, young couple trying to decide if he's a knowledgeable hipster or just a bitter crank. And that's what I was trying to decide reading this. And I think I've decided he's a bitter crank. Because I have no idea if he's self-aware or not. Because the first story is all about Robert Crumb, his own paranoia. And it's mostly about his paranoia about COVID. And was it really a conspiracy or this and that? And he's discussing it with one of his doctor friends. And he all of a sudden his doctor friends tells him, you should trust the expert. You're not a scientist. You're not part of the scientific community. How are you going to be able to judge the science? And that just makes him more paranoid. saying, well, what do you mean I can't judge the science? I can judge anything I want. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm not sure how if Robert Crumb is a knowledgeable hipster or a bitter old crank reading this, because he presents himself as a bitter old crank, but I don't know if he's self-aware about that or not. So it was an interesting, like I said, I haven't read the rest of it yet because there's a lot of stuff going on in this issue.
Right. It looks pretty dense of
it's dense. And it's wider than a regular comic. So I guess it's a little closer to underground size. But not that much. It's not taller, really. It's strange. But like I said, first Robert Crumb. I don't have a lot of Robert Crumb. The first Robert Crumb comic in a long time, so it was interesting.
I don't think I own any Robert Crumb books. I have to. I have to have a comic here or there.
Yeah.
From underground stuff, but going back years ago.
Just by chance, you probably have some Robert Crumb.
I would say so. I probably have just a bunch of books that I got from somewhere.
There's another there's another Robert Crumb single panel that we used to quote all the time in the bullpen. And I think I have it there's like an anthology, trade paperback collection of Robert Crumb's comics about women, which a lot of them are autobiographical. And they have one panel of young Robert Crumb. And it's just a picture of young Robert Crumb at the drawing board, and in a little sort of thought balloon above his head is him remembering, and it's just a girl laughing at him. Tee hee 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 hee. It's that's all it is. And there's like the caption on the panel is "a bitter, twisted dude." And then young Robert Crumb is sitting there at his drawing board saying, I'll show them all. And there's another caption in there pointing at him again saying he never got over it. So that's how we were describing like all comic book artists and cartoon. A bitter, twisted dude. He never got over it. I'll show them all. That was another one of our battle cries when we were in their bullpen. I'll show them all. I'll be that one.
Very familiar. I'll be that one.
I'll be that one. And the funny thing we were.
Yeah. That's the wild thing about it. It's just that it's not necessarily the one you pictured.
No,
but you're working in comics. That's the thing,
Over the years, like I said, my friend Ed and I would be talking, and every now and then we'd go, and we're the success stories.
Yeah.
And and we're the six, because everybody we knew, who we went to school with weren't doing anything creative, and weren't working anywhere in comic, weren't doing any drawing.
Yeah.
So we'd always be like, we'd be complaining about our lives or whatever, and then we go, and we're the success stories.
I like to say more of a cautionary tale. I did not get to go to the comic book shop at all, but we do talk about art supplies, and I got a pack of acrylic brush markers from the TikTok shop of all places.
Oh wow.
So I haven't opened it yet. I wanted to do an unboxing of it and then make my swatches. So it was like one of those sales that the box of markers are 99 cents, and then it's $14 shipping and stuff like that. So it's just like it's kind of a deal. Maybe depends how good the markers are.
You know what's funny? I've been buying so many markers in the last, 6 months, 8 months, whatever, that I just moved some comics and found a box of markers I completely forgot I bought. These are acrylic paint markers, but they're the big ones. They're the 15 millimeter wide ones.
I think I remember when you bought those, and you showed it to me because it had the
I
wide
probably
thing.
showed them. I
But
forgot
you must have put them away. I forgot all about it. That's great.
those Brian Bolland Wonder Woman and covers were piled on top of it for the last 4 months or whatever, and some other
Right.
and I moved them this week and went, oh, look at that. I forgot I bought these.
Do you even make swatches of them?
I did not make swatches of those ones because though I was working with them today. Let me show you this. Making some sort of crazy backgrounds for these weird paint marker drawings I was doing. So I was just
Nice.
layering them
Right.
over each other, trying to figure out a sort of technique for them. That one's not bad.
That one I like. That's a good one.
Yeah, that one came out all right. That was a lot simpler. But yeah, I've planned, and I also bought some more of these. I don't know if you've ever seen these. These are Faber-Castell Pit Pens markers. Since
Oh,
I
yeah,
bought those
I use them.
Pantone ones, I wanted other pigment markers to go with the Pantone ones.
Right.
But these are not refillable, but I found them for fairly cheap on eBay. So
Yeah, I like Faber-Castell.
yeah. So I had about half of these already, and I bought like another 5 sets this week. Oh, and I also got, I forgot about this, another Spider-Man magic card.
Oh, where'd you get that
For
from?
like $1.50.
Oh, okay.
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
Noir.
Neat.
Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then surveil X, where X is the number of counters on it. I don't know what surveil means. That must be a new mechanism in magic that I'm not familiar with.
I'm guessing so. I mean, it might be made just for the Spider-Man set.
Yeah.
It might have taken another word and just maybe it's
Yeah,
perception.
they'd let you, but they have a lot of names for different abilities.
Right. So surveillance, maybe another name for perception.
Yeah, who knows? Well, I don't even know what perception is on. I don't know what it could be a name for.
Yeah, that's. I don't know enough of the Magic game, but I do know like D&D game, and so perception is checking out the room. Surveillance sounds like it would be kind of a similar thing.
Something like that.
Yeah, and I'm just guessing.
Marker hoarders. I give the ones away to my students that I don't use. So I'm not hoarding them.
Our supplies cannot be hoarded. They can either be used or given away.
Or forgotten about under a comic.
Yes, that happens a lot. Or
if you,
the worst thing is, I'm going to save this for the special project.
Whatever that special project.
The special project. Oh no, these are a nice set. I'm going to use it for that, and you never do.
No,
you find this box of stuff that it's like I haven't used this in 15 years. What am I going to do with these charcoals that are more waxy than anything else? And it's like
1 out of 100 with you will work on special project.
I'll be that one.
I'll be that one.
That's why I wanted to drag these out too, just to get them going. Because, like I said, I bought these Pantone ones a couple of weeks ago that I showed off. Were you here that week that I showed these off?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have 11 sets of different colors of these, and they're pigment markers. And then, like I said, after I was trying these out, I went, oh yeah, these ones are pigment markers. So I went into the package they're in. I used to carry these ones with me and work at the train station when I had to wait. But I haven't had to wait at the train station in a while. So they've just been sitting around. I'm like, I should dig those out and actually use them. Because, like I said, saving them for a special project means they'll dry out.
They'll never
sitting
get
over
used.
there.
Exactly.
Never be used. I have done that. Whoops.
I was surprised finding out that there are some types of kneaded erasers that have a shelf life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a buddy of mine who works at a school was like, "Hey, we're closing up for the summer or whatever. Do you want some of these art supplies?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll take them." And he's like, "Yeah, we haven't had a need of these or a use of these, so let me give them to you." And he gave
This
them
is a
to me,
kneaded
and it's like,
eraser.
so he gave them to me, and they just fell apart. They didn't
Yeah.
stay as rubber, so I don't know if they were synthetic or fake ones, but it was like it just
Out in the sun,
crumbled
maybe?
apart.
I don't know. I've never
I
seen
I
one
don't
fall
know.
apart, but
Had to be stored poorly, or they were just, again, maybe really cheap school needed erasers that just did not survive. And it's
nah.
like, wow. So,
Yeah, I've never had one for, I mean, one of these will last me a year,
yeah,
maybe 2 a year. The darker in color they get, the dirtier they are, and you have to throw them away eventually. But I got an extra couple in my art supply case.
oh yeah. Every time I do an art supply run or something like that, I always make sure I get 2 or 3 of them,
Yeah.
and this way here, go through them. I like the smell of a brand new kneaded eraser.
Oh, yeah. And you would think they were the gum erasers, but they're not. The gum eraser is a completely different eraser.
Yeah,
The gum eraser is the rectangular one that's yellowish and crumbles.
I don't use that one, but I know which one you use. The
Yeah.
the one that I like using is one from Korea, and it's a white eraser that crumbles up.
Uh-huh.
Let me get one that still has the box on it.
The crumble.
I got put onto these by Buzz, a mutual friend in the comic industry who does pencils. It's called Vanish.
Okay. Vanish. I might have something like is that the one that's not supposed to, this is the one I have at Fabric-Cast. They call it dust free. So there's still crumbles from it, but they stick
Yes,
together.
yes. So
This
this
must
does
be the same
crumble,
type.
and it's fairly easy to use. But
It's
yeah, when you use it up,
it's
yeah,
sort of like a
kind of
normal,
it just goes like this kind of a thing.
yeah.
So, but I
I don't know
like
if
it
that
because it
one
almost
probably
feels like
crumbles a little more.
it's almost like a kneaded eraser. So it has that kind of effect on the paper, but I really
Um,
enjoyed it. I've been using it ever since as my main eraser. But they come in boxes like this, and for a while, you could only buy them at oh, which is an art store that he uses all the time. The name will come up to me, but these are made in Korea. And
62
here's
says gum erasers were great for drafting. Yeah, that's what they were used for a lot. But this is the one I've been using a
or
lot lately. The Slendy,
ooh,
which
okay.
houses this tiny little eraser there that you can erase tiny little things with.
I like that.
So I've been using
That's
that one
good for
in
like sketch cards.
yeah, of
My
course,
favorite
yeah.
erasers have always been like the really thin white ones that are like on the back of the mechanical pens, because
Ah,
you could get really good detail with them.
this is like a stick of gum, a half a stick of gum, like or a third. The Slendy. Uh-oh, I got to get it back in there. There we go. Open it up. It's got these little grip hands. Let's see, what other comics do I have tonight? Were any erasers used on it? Let's
Oh yeah.
see, oh, we got a couple of Scott Koblish things. This was one of them. Archie versus the Minor Threats. This one's got Scott Koblish insides. Where this one was more like an Archie there's Veronica right there. And where's Archie as Ginger Snap? Let me see. Where'd he go? There's Archie as Ginger Snap. Here's Jughead somehow is called Black Hole in this, but they even say down the bottom, Dr. Manhattan balloons, but we should match Black Hole's color match Black Hole's skin. So they make the Dr. Manhattan reference very specific.
Right.
They don't want you to miss it. Where's Betty? Oh, Betty is what was that Archie superhero name? Pure Heart?
Yeah.
Pure Heart, yes, was
There's
Archie's
Betty.
original.
And if I had remembered this from last issue, I would have been less confused at the beginning of this, but I didn't remember it. The first 2 issues were about the Archie gang going to whatever city the Minor Threats live in. And the Minor Threats are the Patton Oswalt-led superhero universe that Dark Horse publishes. That I think they're also villains too, because they're Minor Threats, so they're villains. So because I've never read that except for the crossover. And so in the first 2 issues, the Archies are on a class trip to that city. And, of course, hijinks ensue. But then at the end of last issue, who is this? Frankie Follis, who is, I think she's a villain in the Archie universe. She got this magic thing and made a wish. And playtime. Frankie Follis. And made a wish that, like, everything was different or something like that. And so now the wish rewrote the universe. So now Archie's the villain, Ginger Snap. Veronica's the villain. Betty's Pure Heart. And so they're all fighting in Riverdale for this magic thing. And of course, Jughead, we only see him briefly if it becomes, Black Hole, Dr. Manhattan. So it was this whole other story happening besides the first 2 issues. Really well done. Who's writing this? Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom, and Timmy Heeg are the scripters. Scott Koblish on art, Hi-Fi on the colors, and Nate Picos on the letters. So a fun issue. I'm really enjoying this series, which, I never would have even bought if Scott wasn't drawing it. So it's fun to find. Let's see. Gum erasers were great for drafting. Gum erasers are the secret to the ease of building the Great Pyramid. There we go. It's built out of gum erasers. Donald Rex says hello to everyone. So do we. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Have you read anything interesting recently, Paolo?
No. Not really. No. Phantom number 2 came out last week.
Phantom number 2.
The Phantom that I complained about because they're using the Sing Brotherhood. Although the story is interesting. The story is developing nicely.
That me talking about my class being important to me, but maybe not the most important class to the students in their lives, because they got a lot of classes, just reminded me. Last week I was talking with Paolo about Asterius Polyp, the David Mazzucchelli book, which I read again recently. I love it. The more I read it, the more I love it. And it's grown on me more and more over the years. But I don't think I mentioned this last week. And it's one of those books that I notice different things in each time I read it or whatever. And one of the lines, I can't remember, I was looking for it before the show, but couldn't find it. Was he said something about, because Asterius Polyp, one of his sort of faults at the beginning of the book was he's sort of like, he's a star academic. He's a famous architect who's won awards. He teaches at a university in Ithaca. So he's pretty, he's a successful guy. So he, and he's used to kind of being successful. But of course, he kind of drops all that at the beginning of the book for whatever. And one of the things he mentioned is sort of like everyone's the star of their own story. It's hard to come to grips with the fact that you're a bit player in everyone else's story. And I was like, that's one of the things you have to come to grips with when you're teaching a class is you're the star in this class, but you might only be a bit player in the whole in the context of a student's life. So it's like, all these people I pass by, like you're not even a bit player in most people's lives. All these people, I contemplate stuff like that as I'm commuting, of course, into New York City. When you pass, usually, I see 4 people a day. Commuting into New York City, you see hundreds and hundreds, and it's like, wow, all these people are just like me. They're walking around they're the stars of their lives. I'm not even a bit player. I'm just a guy who passed on the sidewalk.
Well, as a teacher, you suffer from that ultimate fault, which is I am only my class is important, so all of the students will do their homework for my class.
Right. That happens.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
The fatal flaw.
Like especially with my I teach a couple of illustration classes, but one of the classes I teach is pre-press and print, which a lot of students want to know, but it's not their important class. It's not the most important class. When you're learning you can learn pre-press within the confines of the class. You can't learn to draw within the confines of the class. You need more time to draw and paint. So that's like for something with pre-press, I found like we're going to keep this within the confines. You don't need pre-press homework. You don't need hours and hours of pre-press homework.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Dude. Let's see. Captain is David Mazzucchelli is a great artist, in my humble opinion, and happens to be the artist on 3 of the best written comics ever. Again, we've discussed that. I'm going through all my old New York photos looking for Jared. When we've discussed consensuses among masterpieces and masters without masterpieces, it's amazing that David Mazzucchelli has 2. Well, I'd of course put Asterius Polyp up easily as a 3rd, but there's no consensus on that. But Dark Knight, Batman Year One, and Daredevil Born Again are generally considered, in the superhero world to be masterpieces. So just the fact that he has, and so much of it is coincidence, especially since he's not writing it, compared to, Joe Kubert, Alex Toth, Lee Weeks, guys who I think are masters who have no masterpiece. So that's sort of what we're talking about that along those lines.
And while you can point out to Mazzucchelli being a very large part of the success of Batman Year One and Born Again, would Mazzucchelli had been able to become as famous as he got if he hadn't been working with Frank Miller?
No, I don't think so. I think Frank Miller, because Frank Miller was already famous and popular. Like I always say, the easiest way to get popular is to glom on to something that's already popular.
Right.
I mean, if Frank Miller probably would have never have gotten to made Asterius Polyp without first making Year One and Born Again.
Yeah, but we've had a large gap of time between Mazzucchelli's superhero work and Asterius Polyp.
Yeah,
because he slipped off the radar. He was working on regular comics. He did the Paul Auster adaptations. I mean,
That is what
It's
Captain Finity is mentioning right here. Batman Year One are generally agreed to be awesome, but for me, City of Glass is the absolute pinnacle of comic book media. I still haven't
right.
gotten that one for some. It's
Yeah.
been on my
But here's the
Amazon
thing.
list for ages. I have to get that.
Mazzucchelli was out of comics for years, and then he does City of
Yeah.
Glass, which is completely against anything he had ever done before. So now that he's famous, he's going to get people interested in reading City of Glass. But if you read it hoping to find the same thing that you saw in Born Again,
Yeah.
you might be sorely disappointed.
Yeah. Same thing with Asterius Polyp.
Right.
I think Asterius Polyp. I like Asterius Polyp better than, I think it's more of a masterpiece than Batman Year One or Daredevil Born Again. But I realize I'm not everybody.
Right.
And like you said, if you're a huge fan of Batman and Daredevil and you go to read Asterius Polyp, you could be sorely disappointed.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing like it.
Mm-hmm. And and one thing is for a former comic book superstar to step out of comics and come back 20 years later and do something that reminds you of the thing that he did 20 years prior.
Yeah.
But coming back to comics and doing a literary adaptation of a graphic novel and then follow it up with a very, very large graphic novel that has absolutely no action in it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody had done it before.
I don't know who to compare him to.
Yeah, I mean, Barry Windsor Smith stepped out of comics for a while, and when he came back, he did Conan. But after Conan, he didn't do Conan.
Yeah.
He...
When you compare Batman Year One with Asterius Polyp, you wouldn't think they were the same artist.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anyone else who's done that.
Yeah. Although I did notice in some of the pages you show that, this bit of storytelling uses techniques that you can see in Born Again.
Right.
Yeah. But you'd have to be aware of how comics are drawn, of the behind the scenes, to figure out, I can see Mazzucchelli here. Because I bet that most people are not used to it. And they don't read comics in that way. Most people just read the story. They're not paying attention to the techniques and the camera angles and the shading and line work.
Kyle Baker is one who later work has changed a lot, is a lot different than his earlier work. But I don't know. Well, I don't know if he did he do any really standard superhero stuff?
No, and when he did something that was superhero adjacent, he was the inker.
Right. Because Why I Hate Saturn was pretty out there to begin. It was pretty Kyle Baker to begin with, and that's
And when he did Truth, Red, White, and Black with Black Captain America, that was not completely in the same vein as Why I Hate Saturn either.
Right.
But Baker adapts himself to the needs of the story in a way that very few artists can, because most of them you notice, okay, this is you notice that it's the artist. Maybe it's there. Maybe the genre is a little different, but you notice it's the artist. And Baker, for somebody who's not used to following him around, if you showed him inking The Question, and then Why I Hate Saturn, and then Truth, you might say, how is this the same guy? They might not notice.
62 says Kyle Baker did a run on Plastic Man for DC. Yeah, he was. That was pretty much, you could tell that was pretty much the Kyle Baker style, I think, that he did Plastic Man in. You would recognize that. Well, it was very loose and different than anything else. Let me show you another Scott Koblish thing I got another set of the new history of the DC universe. Except these ones are autographed by Scott Kovlish and somebody. I don't know who that second person's autograph is. Scott is up there. He prints his name autograph-wise. Then there's that name that I can't tell. Is that Mark Waid? Did he?
Is that
Did he
with
write it?
with signature? Yeah, he did, but I don't know if that's the signature.
Almost
Could
on
be.
screen, that almost looks like WAID at the end.
Yeah, let me see if the Green
Maybe
Comics
that is Waid.
database has
Who
the
was the writer of the
signature.
book?
I think Waid was the writer. Yeah, Mark Waid is the writer.
Yeah, because Scott inking himself.
Yeah, he's only
So I
doing the
would
cover.
Right. So I would imagine it's signed
And is
by
Waid-
Scott and Mark Waid.
And is Waid in California too? In LA?
That I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But-
So yeah, there's a signature here in the Green Comics database. It kind of looks like that a little. You can notice some of the details that
Yeah,
are similar, but he probably doesn't autograph in the
Yeah.
same way that he signs something on a page.
It looks like an M now that I look at it, slanted to M Waid. It must be Mark Waid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I bought these like back in April, I think it was, or May, somewhere around there. Scott's local comic shop, which is Comic Bookstore Collectors Paradise, which is comicsandcards.net. There's the certificate of authenticity, a very generic certificate of authenticity that doesn't even mention who signed things. It's like, yeah, the person who signed this really signed it, okay?
Yep.
But the reason I bought it was because I think it was $55 shipping and tax. Was because you also got a sketch by Scott. You tell him which character you want. There's a little 5x7 Wonder Woman head sketch.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize you can request the character.
Yeah, you can. You filled it out on the website which character you wanted.
Nice.
So I was just like, you know what? I'll go with Wonder Woman. So, got this, Now I'm gonna have to look at these, because after I ordered these, I'm like, should I get them from my local comic shop too? Because they're, $7 an issue. But I was like, I had no faith of them ever showing it. So, sometimes you order something from some comic shop 6 months before it comes out, and you're like, will that ever get here? I don't know. So I order them at my local comic shop too. So of course, but now I can lay the copies side by side rather than opening up the comic and make a video of it.
This way here, you can see whatever character might have been written over.
Hello there. How are you doing tonight? I haven't Debariuti. I haven't said his, he works with me, but I haven't said his name out loud all semester. So I don't know if I'm saying it right. But yeah, got a new set of these plus I thought, just for the original art was worth the $55. So
Completely, yeah.
I was good with that. New water bottle.
Oh yeah.
Sports top. Metal. Stainless steel. Good stuff.
It's what you use when you go biking?
No, I need to squeeze one for when I'm biking. So it's got to be plastic. Otherwise, I can't get that water down my...
Right.
And
then with the continuation of art supply stuff, since I've been getting quite a few markers from Amazon. I picked up this marker holder, and
Okay.
it's one I'm going to have to build, but it's made out of this, I guess, a pressed wood, or it could be plastic. I do not know. All I know is that it comes with these instructions.
Ah, ha, ha.
And so I'm
Well, that's-
basically building a little building
oh,
tower.
that's a tall tower. So it stores them horizontally.
Yes. Because
Okay.
I was watching something that they were suggesting that markers, especially the
Yeah.
acrylic ones, should be
Yeah.
stored horizontally. So these
The
are
acrylic ones and the
these
pigment
feel like
ones.
foam, or
Ah.
a very a type of a plastic that almost foam-like. So it has
Yeah,
a
I
bit of a
gotta.
give to it.
They sell cut foam. One of the ones I have is like cut foam that I got
Yeah,
off of. It's like just someone making it.
yeah. So it's like when I took it out, I was like, well, this is not going to be a quick build. This time we'll have to sit down and really pay attention to it. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll do that on the weekend to build that together.
The Copic ones I store vertically.
Yeah.
But that's also because I only use one end of them. Because what usually I only use the brush end. So this keeps the brush end loaded. I never use the chisel tip end, which dries out when you store them.
That way,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. But with the pigment based ones, like acrylic ones or the pigment based Pantone ones, you especially want to store horizontally. I think because the water and the pigment can separate, which you don't want them to.
Right, that makes
So
sense.
that's why you want to store those horizontally for sure. These ones, the alcohol and the alcohol and the dye are not going to separate. The chisel end will just dry out.
Yeah.
Let's see if this one's even. Oh, that one's even still. That won't necessarily dry out, but it'll probably dry.
So for the Copics, they're now being stored horizontally, but that's only because of from Five Below, I picked up a little case to put the
Right.
markers in. Whereas this thing, they're for each individual marker. For the other one, you could store like 6 or 7 per little box on there.
The official Copic cases. This is one from my almost all wrecked. That's all the plumbing tape I had to use to fix these. This is the Copic Sketch 25th anniversary one, which must be 10 years old now. Well, these ones obviously are not meant to be stored horizontally. I mean, you can.
Yeah, right.
But they're actually, sold to you vertically. So, but store them horizontally if you want.
Yep.
Yeah, this is what happens to Copic markers, especially I noticed since I've used them a lot, is when you open and close them, here's the little click.
Yep.
But that's just a couple of little lumps of plastic in there. So that's like one lump of plastic in the cap and a little notch in the. So what happens is over time they can wear down. Or I've had some brand new that are defective and don't. And as you can see, there's a little bit of like when there's a little. Let me see if I can show you this. See how I can twist this cap a little bit?
Right.
That means the seal ain't good. This cap, this side, I cannot twist. So once the cap is twisted too much, the marker's going to dry out. It means the seal's not being made anymore. The marker's going to dry out, and it's no good. So what I figured out was, where is it? Ooh, This is PTFE thread seal tape. This is what plumbers use when you're plumbing and you have two pipes that screw together. You put this on the threads so that when you screw them together, it's really thin. It makes a watertight seal. So I actually tried it out on some Copic markers where I wrapped it around there. And so this kind of fixes the seal. It's not 100%. Like I think this side you can hear the difference. Like that one wiggles, so I don't got it right. But this side is solid, so I have to fix this one. But that's how you like it. It's all dried out though, because this one side isn't sealed perfectly, so the marker doesn't work. I could refill it, but I have to redo that seal. So you use this to fix your Copic markers that don't seal anymore.
You could also use those to fix loose action figures.
Loose action figures. There you go.
You could put them into the joints of an action figure, like especially like the Star Wars figures. What you can do, this is a newer model. So what happens is that the older ones, I don't have the older ones right in front of me. So what happens is they would get very loose, and then you could like shake the figure and the legs are just loosey-goosey. It won't even stand. It'll keep falling apart. So there is a trick, and you can find them on all the YouTube channels, where you take something like that type of tape and plumber's tape, and just take a piece of it and just go in and go around the joint and just push it right in, and that gives it more than enough to keep the figure fairly straight.
I see.
So it's like, so you can use it for, but like, I know of it because my dad being a superintendent of a building, and we would help him out. We would use plumber tape all the time in general for the purpose it was made, but you can use it for other things too.
You can get it on Amazon. Just look up Teflon tape or thread seal tape. It's like $6-8, whatever. Not expensive. Here's another thing I got. What was that?
I was gonna say I watch a YouTuber named Toy Polloy, where he talks about how to fix toys and stuff like that, and he uses that type of tape as well.
Yep. And here's another one I got. Space Scouts by Matt Kint and David Rubin. He's got an accent over the I.
Yeah, he's Spanish.
Whoop. I made him big instead of me. And I picked the Sergio Aragonés cover. Or Sergio Aragonés, I believe, as I may have pronounced it as a child. There's the back cover. Some nice artwork in it. Let me see if I can get a good page. Nice splash page with some coloring on the screen, so it looks a little weird. And it's a sci-fi story about this young woman going through, it's sort of it's like a reality show contest, but the prize is you get to be a superhero. And your whole family is rewarded. Your whole planet is rewarded. Here's a little, it tells you who they are back here. So there's this reluctant young woman who did not want to, because like 1,000 people try out for this reality. First of all, they go around the galaxy testing, I guess genetically testing to see who could be a superhero. And then they pick you. And she didn't even want to be picked because she has a fear of, she's like, I'm just going to fail. My chances are 1 in 1,000 of getting this, and I probably won't. And she even mentions, what is it? It's such a hero's journey cliche, me feeling reluctant, just makes it even more of a cliche. So she's upset that she has to go. She's upset that she's out living the life of a cliche, and she doesn't think she'll ever get through. But of course, she's made it through so far in the first issue. And what was she has some sort of light powers, but in the back it's like code name Adreno. Abilities, adrenaline fuels his strength. Very dumb. Code name II. Abilities, fully mechanical body that is customizable. Bad attitude. Code name Blood. BLUDD. How many villains have been named Blood? Quite a few. 1D, 2Ds, U's. Lives off blood and maintains the memories of all his victims. Code name Bro. Abilities strong, dumb, dead. Code name Bubble. Ability to, I guess he's a zombie. Ability to generate and manipulate both water and air. Code name Chunk. Abilities can expand or contract his body at will and gain strength commensurate with his size. Code name Crash. Generates cerebral current that can shock, kill, and with more subtle control, see the future of anyone he comes into contact. He can shock you, kill you, or see your future. I didn't read these beforehand. That's a weird combo of powers, but Matt Kint is really good about thinking of powers. And Dupe, abilities can replicate himself by bringing a version of his past or future into the present. But
there was a guy in Alpha Flight who had those powers.
Yeah, I remember that.
Flashback. He was a member of Omega Flight. They killed the Guardian. Yeah.
It was Flashback, okay. Because I think he could call in a protoplasm of himself and then something far in the future.
No, that's Mannequin. That's Mannequin.
Okay.
Mannequin was Madison Jeffries' brother's assistant.
Okay. Been so long since I read those, but yeah.
Bum, bum, bum. But yeah, nice first issue. I liked this one. I'm going to get more of it. I generally like Matt Kint stuff.
Right.
And he's good at picking artists if he's not drawing it himself. So I think I ordered the second issue of this already. I don't know why. This is one of the 3 books I was the only one in the store to pre-order this week. So no one else pre-ordered this but me.
Right.
Was the Crumb book the other? I think I may be the only one to pre-order the Crumb book too. Maybe been 4 books. There's another one was, where is it? No Place. I was the only one to pre-order No Place. There's another one of the Ignition Press books. Tim Seeley, who's generally a writer-artist that I like. Who's the artist? Stefano Simeone. Simeone. I don't know how to pronounce it. Simone. You got me.
Simeone.
Hold on. Simeone. Okay. And it was an okay first issue, but it turned out the art was too confusing. Since there's never any black holding line, like that kind of becomes a mishmash. Like, can you tell me what that picture is?
Alien invasion?
Some kind of invasion.
It's something.
I think they're in a forest.
Invasion of my eyes.
I think they're being invaded in a forest.
See, is that a 2-page spread, or is it just 2 different images?
I believe that's a 2-page spread. Yes. See that? I'm not even sure.
It is hard to tell.
See, that's ridiculous. Everybody knows aliens don't invade through a forest. They invade through New York.
It was a forest world, I think. They had no choice. There was New York, no New York in that world. And I mean, it was okay. Like I said, the art just left me cold because there was nothing sort of, the whole panel was given the same importance. The whole page was given the same importance. It was like the artist wasn't picking what was important. The style wouldn't let him pick what was important and show that to us. The style is everything is equally important, and it's not in the storytelling. So it left me a bit cold. I don't think, and I've been enjoying these books from Ignition Press. That's one that like I said, it wasn't terrible or anything. It just left me a little cold. The storytelling was like, do 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 do. Oh, I just took this sits in this is my checklist for leaving the house on my commute. Glasses, iPod, phone, food, water, camera, mask, mints, and headphones. Though I don't really need a mask anymore, but that I have to make sure I look at this checklist before I leave. It's usually in my Copic marker case standing up. Because otherwise, as has happened before, I might go to eat my granola bars on my way home, and they're not there. And I'm really disappointed. Really disappointed. When was the last time you made it to the comic shop, Wilson? The last show you were here?
Probably, because there was a problem with my card, so my pre-order didn't go through. And when I said, hey, I would like this to be reactivated, it took a week to get back to me about it. And so it was reactivated this week. I got the alert a couple of hours ago that next week's books have been purchased. So it's like, all right, so there'll be books for me next week. And then the rest of them I'm just going to have to pull off the shelf.
Well, that stinks.
Yeah. So, and I just had not had time to go out this week to even pick up books.
You're having everything mailed to you. Saw some Amazon box opening.
Yeah. So it's like, and I do enjoy getting stuff in the mail so much. And it's like, I should try to do a comic book subscription, but yeah, I've heard way too many horror stories about how they got the comics. So
and it's fun going to the comic book.
And it is. I do enjoy going to my comic book shop in the city, and I like the guys who are there and banter a little back and forth about comics and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. And again, it was like telling tales about when I used to work in a comic book shop and how things were so different, but at the same thing is the same with retail and stuff like that, where they're lamenting about the newest book that was either underordered or appeared in the news. So of course, everyone who's never bought a comic book is now looking for that book, and it's like, well, did you pre-order it? And it's like, no, you should have it. And it's like, no, that's not the way it works. And it was like that keeps going back to way back when. I was there for the death of Superman and the nuttiness that ensued with that, where you have people who never shopped in a comic book shop before will show up and go, why don't you have these books? You must be hiding them in the back. Why would we be hiding them? You pre-order these things. You order for your subscribers, you order for the store, and then you order a couple of extras. Once they sell out, they sell out. But you had people like, I came down here from Maine looking for this book. And it's like, people just go crazy.
Yeah, I've had friends who, are comic shop veterans, but haven't bought comics in 20 years, going to a shop and they're like, I couldn't find any of the hot books. I'm like, You know how this works. If you see the book on TV, it's not going to be in the comic shop anymore.
It's too
If
late.
it makes the news, it's going to be sold out.
Yep. You know that. What was the last one of the last ones? Was like, oh, you could see Batman's privates, and everyone went insane to go get that book. And then Something Killing the Children is going to be a hard one to get because they just announced the movie. So that's going to be the hot book.
I've been over the last few years. I bought tons of James Tynion written books. I've never really bought that one. I've read some issues of it, but I never really, sort of said I should read this one. I don't know why.
Right. But that was for a while. That was a hot book in general because I would see a lot of people
it still is.
doing their
the early
videos
issues
about
are
it.
expensive.
Yeah.
Captain Infinity says, "Is the checklist on the checklist?" No, and if I forget the checklist, that's when I forget things, and I also have to actually look in my bag when I go over the checklist. There's been a couple of times when I went, camera? Yeah, I got my camera, because usually I take street photos as I walk down, or my video. And then I go to take the camera out of my bag and I go, oh, I never put it in. I just thought I did. So that's key too, actually looking in the bag to make sure the stuff on the checklist is there.
I had to learn. So my checklist is more of I'm checking my pockets on me. I know to do this, kind of a thing. I used to have the bad habit of not doing it until after I closed the door.
Whoops.
Or it would end up. I've only maybe twice had locked the door without the keys here. Living in this place for 20 years. But it used to be like I was always worried about my wallet. But I was in the habit of when I get off the train to check for the wallet. It's like, no, you have to check for the wallet before you leave the house. So I had taught myself before I closed the door to check, so I do my check on the inside of the door is where I do my inside checklist. And then when I go through the threshold, I make sure I'm holding the keys before I close the door itself. But again, it's like, you learn because you made the mistake in the first place.
Yeah.
So I could totally understand why having a checklist.
Let's see. It was the last issue of Vanishing Point. This is it's been 6 issues of sort of Twilight Zone-ish stories. Mark Russell is wrong way. Mark Russell is the writer and has been a different artist each issue. Ryan Alexander Tanner is this issue. And they've been pretty good stories. This one is about a robot attacking some guy in a suit attacking a large Hadron Collider thing and the story that goes along with it. It was good. There's the president of the United States there. It was very George Bush-like. Trying to protect the U.S. And it was a good, like I said, Twilight Zone-ish. That's what I'd call it, that it's most like. And I enjoyed the whole series. And they're not happy stories either. they're like, this one wasn't happy. Like, there was one, I think, that was kind of happy. All the other ones are like, ooh, they're cautionary they're horror stories. Cautionary tales, something like that. But very enjoyable series, I gotta say. From Mad Cave Studios, I think that one was from. So good job, Mike Martz, if you had anything to do with this. Let's see. Because he's the boss there or something. Founder, Mike Martz is the EVP, Editor-in-Chief. What does EVP stand for?
That I don't know.
Executive Vice President?
Could be.
Would that be
Maybe.
EVP?
I guess.
Must be. Yeah, he's the direct editor on this one, too. What has Mark Russell written?
I
Anyone?
know.
Because he must be something of a draw to get his own series. I think I've heard his name before, but I'm not 100% sure.
It's been mostly at DC, I think. Let's see. All right. So, I guess he came on. He got known when he did that weird, realistic Flintstones comic 10 years ago.
Ah, okay, yes. I remember. I never read it, but I remember people liking it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
heard a
also
lot
did.
of good things about it.
Yeah, he also did the Snagglepuss comic, the one that's also realistic.
Huh.
And I think he did the Wonder Twins comic, where they mentioned that they have, where they go to school on Earth, and then they mentioned they have sex parties on their home planet whenever it rains.
Maybe he's a TV writer coming into the comic biz.
I think he's part of the Portland Comics Mafia.
Oh, okay. Mark Russell did Second Coming, Donald Rex says.
Oh, that one, yeah. Yes, that explains.
Was that the one that someone was going to publish and then didn't? Then like Ahoy published it or something? It had something to do with Jesus?
Yeah. Because it was part of the Vertigo relaunch that went nowhere, and some people complained to DC that it featured Jesus.
Right.
But Ahoy didn't care.
62 says, welcome to the older phase of life. I started to look for something and I stop and I have to remember the last time I saw it and where I lived. Some stuff didn't make the last move. I've been looking for my dustpan and brush for like 2 weeks now. It always stays in one spot. It's not there. Where could it have gone? I don't know. Donald Rex says, Jesus meets Superman. Okay. Swamp Thing wasn't allowed to meet Jesus either.
Ghost Rider used to hang out with Jesus. Until he stopped.
That was retconned away. Jim Shooter came up with a lame explanation at the time.
Captain Infinity says, I misplaced my first wife. If not, she would still be your wife and not your first.
In which time period was that?
Another one I was the only one to pre-order a copy of in the store was Oni Press Crownsville. A horror book that grew on me as I read it. I was having a little problem with the style of artwork, which is this sort of, it's hard to describe.
That looks familiar.
Realistic, but with sketchy lines. And one of the problems I had was there was a bunch of characters, and they all kind of look similar. Short hair. A lot of them are black too, and with the sketchiness of they gave one guy a hat so I could tell him apart. So it took me it's double sized, so it's probably 40 pages, but it took me a good 20 pages to figure out which character was which. So maybe on the second read through, I'll like it better.
Who's the artist?
The artist is Elia, E-L-I-A, Bonetti, Bonetti. And Rodney Barnes, I guess, is the writer. Yeah.
No, that looked familiar, but I don't know Bonetti's name. Elia Bonetti. Okay, let's find out. Who is Elia Bonetti? Okay, so she has an Instagram. Yeah.
Not the best cover either. It's the back cover I like. Let me show you this. Spirit of the Shadows. I think that's a pretty cool cover.
That's a good cover.
Yeah. Coming in January.
A lot of text on that cover, but that's a good cover.
Yeah. Cover makes me want to buy the comic. So I think I'm going to decide in my second read through if I'm going to get another issue of this. This is number 1 of 5. Because like I said, at first I was really confused by it. Then I got into it. 62 says, Preacher knew Jesus. He certainly did. Crownsville. Oh, but the story, it has to do with, there's a description of the story in the front that's pretty terrible. But it has to do with an old sort of state-run asylum that had, that was mainly where they threw black people. So it started out as sort of your normal, everyday state-run asylum, but it eventually became a sort of place where if there were black people who were a little crazy or whatever, they'd put them in this asylum. So it became sort of a one-race asylum eventually. And now it's closing down. And they and also some Tuskegee sort of experiments went on. Not Tuskegee, that's the Airmen. Which one is the experiments that they did on black people with syphilis where they didn't treat them?
Oh, I forget the name.
I can't
of that
remember.
particular
But some medical experiments were going on. It turns out on kids, and they even kidnapped some black kids off the street. So they're ghosts in this asylum that are haunting people. And one of the guys there, he's the night watchman there, and he's getting haunted. And there's one of the characters is a cop. One of the characters, I think, is a reporter who they want to do a story on this place. So I think it's all going to collide into this crazy haunted thing. Oh, there we go. Eric P. says, I just sent in my January 2026 pre-orders to my LCS, and Spirit of the Shadows #1 is in it. Yeah, it says coming in January, so. Maybe it must be in the latest previews. When final order cutoff runs around, I will put it on mine. You know what I'm not sure if I ordered? Someone mentioned it on my Comic Haul video this week, and I think I pre-ordered it, but I don't know. They came out with an issue with an Ice Cream Man story that's a deck of cards.
Really?
So each panel is on one of the cards, I think is how it works.
Okay.
And I thought I pre-ordered it, but it came out this week and it wasn't in my shop. And I forgot about it, so I didn't ask. So I'll have to ask this upcoming week. Because usually Ice Cream Man is already on my list, but if I see a special or something, I put it on. And I think I put that on. Oh.
The
previews? I saw it on League of Comic Geeks. Yeah, I'm old. Previews doesn't even exist anymore.
I think Defiant did that, where the comic was in a card set.
Yeah, Defiant. Oh, that's right. They had an actual. This isn't a card set though. This is a deck of cards, I think.
Right.
I think that
Okay.
like Defiant sold like packs that you'd open up, and the store
Right.
you'd put the cards together. So I think instead of that, this is an entire deck of cards. So you only have to buy one thing, not multiple packs. You're right. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Warriors of Plasm or something.
I think so.
By the way, this is the pile of yellow Faber-Castell markers that I mentioned last week at Tupelo that I ordered. I think I mentioned it. These were the ones that sometimes you can find random markers on eBay. And these ones were like at auction. Like the big brush ones were these 5 big brushes. And these markers are usually $2 a piece, I think they retail for. And this one's got what? 8 of the thinner ones. And there were like $1.99 was the opening bid. I'm like, I may as well bid on these. No one else is gonna.
Right.
And the shipping was like $5. And I like didn't even bother to ask him to combine shipping or anything because I knew he wasn't making any money off of them. So I paid like the $12 for all these markers, pigment based ones, just because I wanted some extra yellows and oranges.
Yeah.
Because these ones you can't refill. Well, actually, you can refill these ones. They just don't have any ink to refill them. I found the backs come off these real easy, and you can get to the sponge. So I was trying to refill one with a regular ink. Let's see if it worked. It was mostly just leaking out. It's still just leaking out. Do you refill your markers, Wilson?
I only the ones that are refillable, in the sense of the triad markers,
Yeah.
Tria markers, they come with refillable parts to it. So the alcohol-based markers I have. I've tried to refill some of the black markers, and I have not had success with them.
Oh, okay.
So those I tried a few times.
That's because you need the Ultra Draw to refill those. This is the rapidograph marker.
Yeah. And I know I still have
Sleepy
some
says,
of that ink from my rapidograph markers.
Are you sure you're not a marker hoarder? I'm only sure because I've given a bunch of them away.
Right.
Got to read the card you're dealt. And 62 says it's the $10 deck of cards, have 55 cards number. You need to read the story it creates. Okay. I'm definitely going to track that down. I checked eBay and it was going for $20 on eBay. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to check with my And even if I didn't pre-order, I'll see if they can reorder. That is my plan.
In the meantime, I'm gonna have to get rid of a few comics.
What are you gonna get rid of?
Oh man, pretty weird stuff around here. Stuff that I ended up not reading, like this one and this one. No, this one I read.
Every now and then I walk by my shelf and go, I never read that book. I'm going to have to read it someday. And then I go reread Asterius Polyp.
This one. This one is also. Yeah. What is this? Oh, yeah.
What does he have for us? Besides a blank screen and dead air.
Blank screen and dead air to be replaced by me again. Stuff that I'm going to get rid of. Sherlock Holmes Kolchak the Night Stalker crossover. Yeah, this was published by Moonstone in 2009. Yeah, they don't actually meet up because they're they're separated by quite a few decades, but it's a case that they both work on. But I ended up never reading this. I thought the idea was interesting, but I ended up never reading this, so I'm getting rid of it. George R.R. Martin's Hedge Knight graphic novel. This was one of the things
I just gave away my issues of that.
Yeah.
I think, not the Hedge Knight I didn't give away. It was something else. Pardon me. I have those in individual issues. It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. I actually liked it, but I think I'm going to get rid of it. I have 2 of them. I read this one. I haven't read the second, although I like this one. But but it goes. Shaft, A Complicated Man from Dynamite. Published when?
I
Yeah.
remember seeing that, but never bought it. When did that
this
Hedge
one
Knight
was-
come out?
The Hedge Knight was what, 2006, around that time, I think. 2003.
Yeah, 2000. Because that reminded me. I think I was buying the Hedge Knight, but I was pulling it off the shelf of the comic shop when things were slow. And that's when I learned, that's the first time I learned that some alternate covers were more expensive than others.
Ha, yeah.
Because I think Hedge Knight was a $3 book. And for the last issue, I spent $6 because I got an alternate cover accidentally.
Yeah. So this is from 2014, and there's that Brazilian artist that you can't pronounce the name.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Zevely. Yeah.
Who I didn't discover till that book this year.
And I don't know. This is a prequel to the novel, which the first movie is based on. Shaft started on novels before they made the book. And this is kind of boring. I mean, there's lots of action in the movie and not here. And I guess I need the Isaac Hayes soundtrack.
The problem with any licensed book like that is that you buy it expecting more of the movie, and it's hardly ever like that.
Yeah.
Ha! So sweet,
yeah, but this is a prequel, so it's like set in 1961, so 10 years before the movie.
As BPT says, Paulo and his amazing rarities.
Yeah. Hell City.
Hell City?
Yeah. This one was by Macon Blair and Joe Flood, who I have no idea who they are. This one came out in 2010, and it's all in black and white. I went through previews. I used to go through previews, and I would pick up some things that looked interesting. But then once again, I ended up not reading it because it's kind of thick. And now I just not I'm just not very interested right now. Okay, Blood and Honor, the four-world graphic novel saga. This is actually it's a graphic novel, but it's an anthology.
Okay.
And I've read it. It's kind of interesting. Well, I mean, it's weird. So it collects three different mini series, and they all have different art. Okay, so the first part is called Suffragitsu, Mrs. Pankhurst's Amazons. The second part is The Last God. It's called The Last God. It's got some wrestling theme, but it's set in some fictional Middle Ages. Okay, this one the art's not very good. And then the other one I kind of liked it. It's called Symposium. There's a lot of talk, and the art's kind of busy, but the comic's kind of interesting. I don't think this. I think this came out in a different format because the lettering is terribly small, and they had to adapt it to comic size. And
So
this one is also
bigger.
going. Vinland, the saga of Leif Erikson. Yeah.
Is that the Japanese one?
No, this is made in America, and it's the art is just terrible. I opened this and
isn't there a popular Japanese one named Vinland too?
Yes. I mean, look at this. This is supposed to be Vikings fighting. No, I'm sorry, no.
They're trying, they're trying their best.
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe Vikings did fight that way.
Captain Finity
So-
says George R.R. Martin's How to Finish Writing a Novel in 14 years or sooner. Sleepy says movie tie-ins are rarely a good bet. Yeah,
yeah.
it's tough.
And it's a prequel, and you know how prequels are. Nothing happens to the main character because he has to be alive for the movie.
A lot of armor.
Yeah. And he doesn't look like Shaft. I'm sure they didn't have the rights to reach around Tree's face.
Right.
But he doesn't even look like Shaft because that story is set in the early 60s. So black people dress differently,
Yeah.
more conservatively, and it does not fit well with our perception of blaxploitation aesthetics.
Right. Which is the whole point of Shaft.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a tough one to adapt a prequel, especially a prequel set a year before the movie, maybe still in the 70s, maybe, but 1961 is tough.
Yeah. And it has the Shaft going to Vietnam and
What was the beatnik aesthetic? Just blue jeans and a white t-shirt?
Bitnik. No.
And would Shaft have anything to do with the beatnik aesthetic in like 1961?
No.
I'm just trying to figure
Oh.
out what I would do if I was trying to set Shaft a prequel in 1961. You'd have to try to pick a look.
Well,
Hope, I don't know.
He wears a plaid suit in some scenes. So, but it's 1961.
A beret and turtleneck sweater, says Sleepy.
Yeah, that's
There you go.
That's the yeah.
Get some Mrs. Maisel aesthetic going on. That was the late 50s.
We're fighting against the man, with our poetry, with our slam poetry.
Captain Finity says Sleepy Reader nailed it. There we go.
See, that does nothing. There's no rain, no lightning.
Yeah, nothing. You're right. We needed to do something.
Snap. No
Let's
snap.
see, another thing I got is the second issue of James Stokoe's Orphan and the Five Beasts, which of course has this nice James Stokoe artwork in it. This is very Hong Kong kung fu movie supernatural-ish. Very sort of lush drawing in it. About a woman who's out to stop the five beasts who are twisting her master's kung fu teachings. And she thought she killed one of them last issue, but let me see if I can show it to you here. His hand survived. So it's now real creepy as this hand is trying to we'll show you the end. The hand is regrowing himself and attaching himself to this pregnant woman. I guess that's part of his regrowing process, but we'll see if I don't even know our lead character's name, can save the woman next issue. But like I said, just some nice storytelling, just some rich drawing. James Stokoe is one of those artists who draws the hell out of everything, but he can still pick out what's important. Unlike not Crownsville, what artist? The No Place artist, who I thought was having trouble delineating what was important. James Stokoe can delineate what's important. I still want to get. You've seen his Godzilla, right, Wilson? Godzilla 100-Year War, I
Yes.
think it was. There's an oversized version of that, which I've always wanted to get. I think you can get it on Amazon, but I've just not bothered yet. But there's like an oversized James Stokoe. I think it's that and other stuff of his Godzilla stuff. So that I'll pick up someday. Because I generally enjoy his art. Any James Stokoe stuff make it across the Atlantic, Paolo?
It's Jim Stokoe. I don't know.
Have you noticed anything over there?
No. Well, I've never noticed in France. You always have to make sure that they're being published in France or Spain to know if they have any presence over here. Because if we have Stokoe fans over here in Portugal, they will buy it. They will buy the US editions.
Oh yeah. Sleepy asks, do you like Stokoe's color palette on Orphan? I'm getting a little tired of it. I cannot say that I like his color palette. A lot of subdued. A lot of subdued, light blues and oranges. I think he's going with sort of a brownish overall color palette. Sort of an I think this is China, right? And then like lots of red in the. I can't say. I think he's trying to do a period color palette, and he's sticking to like sort of the period color palette. And I can't say I'm getting tired of it because it never really tickled me in the first place, but I forgive it. I can overlook it. But yeah, I know what you mean. Very light colors. There's light green on that last page. A lot of light greens, light blues, light oranges, and light red. It's generally light with all the characters being brown. Yeah, I can't say it. I love it, but I can ignore it mostly. The colors are not blowing me away. I have the big hardcover Godzilla by Stokoe at 7x11. I think it's another one. It's what is that? I'm not 100. Let me see. Let me quickly bring up my Amazon and see if I can see where because it's been on my Amazon wish list forever. One of those that just sits there. Let's see. Where is it? James Drew. The Night Eaters. I have to read volume 2 of that. Godzilla by James Stokoe, deluxe edition. Is it only 7x10? Where is its size? You're right, that one is only comic size. I didn't realize. I thought it was bigger than that. Must be something else I'm thinking of that they put out a big version of, but that big hardcover version is only regular comic size. Mm-hmm. I'll have to see what I was thinking of because I don't remember. Have you seen Spaceship Godzilla, Wilson? There's a comic book called Spaceship Godzilla. And I was wondering what the heck it was. It's Godzilla the Spaceship?
I do not
Are they looking for Godzilla in a spaceship?
I
don't.
Maybe it's Mecha Godzilla being used for something, and they're calling it that. Let me see if I could pull up a cover.
Somehow it's intrigued me, but I've never. I'm like, what's going? I think I've even looked through an issue and I haven't seen Godzilla in it.
Because I know there's been okay, so there's Starship Godzilla.
That must be it. Starship
Not
Godzilla.
Spaceship. Okay. features Mega Godzilla in space.
Okay.
Okay, so it
Is
looks
he
like
the
they may
ship
be
or is he
using.
running around?
Don't know. The art looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a New York Comic Con edition. Let's see what does Wikizilla say about it. It's the Wikipedia for Godzilla, by the way.
Wikazilla.
It's IDW Publishing, which makes sense because IDW has been in all the Godzilla books. There's not even a synopsis for it yet, so I don't know if the book actually came out.
Maybe it hasn't come out. Maybe
Currently
you've just
running
seen ads for it.
2025,
I can't
ongoing
remember.
series. Debuted the 1st of October, so at least the first issue
Okay.
should have been out. But
no one has bothered to
okay,
put it
so
on
it
the
looks
wiki.
like they pretty much. For the first time in Toho canon, this trip through the stars will bridge the gap between the various alien races that come to Earth from the past tales. But now it's time to visit their world as the crew of misfits embarked on a high-risk, high-reward kaiju-based mission with secrets that could impact the whole universe. So, if I'm reading this correctly, if you haven't watched any of the Godzilla films over the years, because Godzilla's been 75 years old of different stories, there have been alien attacks mostly. So we do
Right.
know that King Ghidorah is an alien kaiju. The original Mecha Godzilla were aliens run by it as well. So it looks like the Earth-based people makes a Mecha Godzilla to go out into space, and then I guess each issue will tell a story about those other aliens. Because we know that
Let's
there is
see.
one that's like a
62 has some info for us. The artist says this is a story about space mercenaries roaming aboard a retrofitted Mechagodzilla spaceship, traveling through the galaxy and encountering strange
I
new
would imagine.
worlds.
Yes, most likely the aliens that may have originally sent Mechagodzilla to Earth, because you have a set of aliens called the Zillions, and at least 3 other alien races that they've used. One is like giant bugs, one was monkeys, and then the Zillions look like humans, but they're all clones of each other. So it's like 4 characters, but they're like cloned. So I would imagine this is bridging the gap between all those aliens, because they've also in the movies communicated with each other saying, "Can I borrow your monster to attack Earth this week?" type of thing. So
Sleepy says sounds cool. Yeah, that one, I don't know why that
yeah,
concept, caught my eye too. I was like, make a spaceship out of Godzilla. That sounds kind of cool. Like I said, I wasn't sure. I don't think I thought maybe they'd making like a techno organic spaceship out of him at that. I don't know if
right,
Mecha Godzilla crossed my mind because I've we've seen techno organic spaceships in the
right.
world of science fiction.
The closest thing they did to that was an animated series called Godzilla Earth, where the humans they were like the monsters are too crazy, let's leave, and they leave
Yeah.
Earth on these giant spaceships. They leave Earth, and only to find out that there is nothing out there to be able to basically go to. And it's like,
Yeah.
all right, let's go back home. And, space shenanigans, millions of years go by. So they come back to this lush planet, and it's like, turns out Godzilla's even bigger than ever. The Godzilla is the Earth, pretty much. So when they get back, you find out that Mecha Godzilla is this whole city. So it had become like a living city type of thing. But that was its own, again, its own little storyline that only appeared in I think Netflix did the series.
Do.
So Godzilla being a spaceship isn't too far-fetched.
Not at all. Yeah, in Saga, they flew around in space in a tree for a while.
Oh, okay.
Their spaceship was a tree, which you can somehow make a spaceship out of. I don't remember. A
In
tree
the
ship.
you remember the '80s Transformers movie? They kind of retconned that planet Cybertron was a being called Primus,
Yes.
and Unicron was his opponent. And you could
Yes.
live, but you could live even when he was in robot form. You could still live inside Unicron. So that's a bit like
Hey, my
like living
apartment is
inside
moving.
Mechagodzilla. Yeah.
So again,
I
not
got a-
far-fetched.
I got a couple of James Schmalke books this week. The first one being 7 Years in Darkness. This is the one that's about the wizard magic school. From his own, he self-publishes now. Midnight Factory is his company. And this one, I think 100 children start through the school, and only 3 of them will be alive at the end. There's a lot of talking between teachers and students dying and monsters waiting in the background and all sorts of fun stuff going on. I generally like Joseph Schmalke's work, so this was a fun one. And this is issue number 3, year 3. So he's putting this out in years. So year 1 was 6 issues, year 2 was 6 issues, and I guess year 3 is going to be also. And he also put out, the same week came out another one of his books, once again by Midnight Factory. We Don't Kill Spiders, Season of the Witch, issue number 2. Nice thick cardstock cover. Looks very much like the other one. But this one takes place, I guess you'd call this historical horror. Because it takes place, I don't know what year it takes place, but someplace up north with the Vikings, and there's magical creatures walking around, and this one Viking trying to track down this witch or whatever it is who's horror, or some demon or something who's like, I'm not a demon, I'm just a regular old person.
Regular old person.
So it's more horror stuff from James Schmalke. But like, I'm really having fun. He does a nice horror book, and his art's not, he's not the best draftsman in the world, but he gets the job done, especially with this inky, blobby horror stuff. Oh, look at that. Sleepy says Dan Simon's, or is it Simmons? I forget which. Hyperion books had tree spaceships too, prose novels. I actually read those many years ago. I actually just reread one of my favorite novels from the 90s was, it was a horror novel of his, Carrion Comfort. And I read it in the 90s. Oh, one of my favorite horror novels. And I just reread it, I think, last year for the first time and enjoyed it. I don't think I liked it as much as I did in my younger days, but I still liked it. And I read the Hyperion novels too, back in the 90s sometimes, maybe late 90s, and liked them too, but they were very different. They were very different from Carrion Comfort, which was like a horror novel about these psychic vampires who could control people and take over the world. The world was really, billionaires were really these psychic vampires kind of thing. And then also, he had one that he wrote before, I think it was called Song of Cali. and he won like a science fiction or a horror award. I forget which one. But when I read it, I was like, "There's no science fiction in this." I was like, "Why did this win a science fiction award?" But yeah, I'd like to. I've wanted to reread the Hyperion stuff again, but I haven't. I think that was a galaxy spanning. Yeah, yeah. His horror and sci-fi is almost by two different authors. Yeah, the style is just completely different. And the Song of Kali was like about a poet who went to India and got caught up in some cult. Like I said, I think that one won a science fiction award for some reason. I never could figure that out. You guys ever heard of Dan Simmons?
Nope.
Nope.
No, I don't think so. Although the name Hyperion as a book series sounds vaguely familiar, but that time
Probably
period
because
I was reading more sword and sorcery
probably because of
books.
the Squadron Supreme.
Most likely, that's most likely exactly why. Because I'm trying to remember what books was I reading around that time, and I was realizing I was reading a lot of sword and sorcery books and like Dragonlance and stuff like that was books that I read
Okay.
a lot of. Remembered nothing of it. Um, I recently like saw someone had a TikTok video about it, and it was like I was looking at the covers. Like I read a lot of those books. I remember enjoying them, but I never revisit them. I may even still have them, which is kind of funny.
Wow.
So I was like, "Ooh, maybe I'll pull those out again and see if I like them now compared to
Yeah.
way back when."
Sleepy says he won a lot of awards. Hyperion got the Hugo. Like I said, I think this was Song of Kali was the name of it, Kali. And like I said, I think it may have won a sci-fi award. And when I finally read it, I went, sci-fi? Where's the sci-fi? That happens. Let's see. I also got this one was good. Quick Stops. I actually want to find volumes 1 and 2 of this because I didn't even know they existed. Quick Stops number 3. This is an anthology series that's tales of Kevin Smith's universe.
Right, he has the View Askew universe.
Right.
So all his movies take place in the same time in the same
The
universe.
Askewniverse, it says here on the cover.
Oh, okay.
But nice art, Mark Ryhill and Andrew Thomas. And this is a Jay and Silent Bob story. And I think they try to conjure up death to bring their friend Dante back. And I think this is Alan Rickman played the angel in the movies.
Yes. He played Metreon.
Yeah, I think that's Megatron, as Jay calls him. It was a nice little story. A lot of talk between Jay and Metatron. Some decent black and white artwork. And I've enjoyed all 3 issues of this a lot so far. So like I said, I actually want to track down volume 1 and volume 2 just because I'm enjoying these so much. But do I track them down as collected edition or individual issues? We'll have to see. It depends on how easy either one is. Whichever is cheaper. Sleepy said, yes, I remember Song of Kali. Maybe the award judges cheated. LOL. Yeah. Who knows? But this is the first Kevin Smith stuff I've read in a while. Though I don't know how much stuff he's been doing. Secret Stash Press and Dark Horse. Has Kevin Smith written anything for Marvel in years and years?
Not in some time. Daredevil was the last thing I remember.
He was going to do a Black Cat miniseries, but only the first issue came out.
Right. Didn't he revisit one of those in like the last 5 years or something?
He
I don't
very
remember.
well may have.
Yeah, I think he finally finished the Black Cat miniseries.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that is what I'm thinking of. I don't remember.
There was some lame excuse about deadlines and being busy with something. Listen, when you write, okay? There's no such thing as I'm busy doing the other thing. And I don't think movie people understand the concept of writing commercially.
Yeah.
You can't just postpone things.
Right.
You have to, even if you have to take an hour out of your day to do that thing, you take an hour out of
I found that
that.
weird too. I'm like, how long can it take to write another comic?
Yeah.
But like I think you're right. Movie people are used to long waits for something to get done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is just okay. If you're waiting for something on a movie deal, get to the typewriter. Okay.
You would think so.
Yeah, it's funny because how the one who you have at least 5 people creatively to create a comic book, and of the artist, the writer, the penciler, inker, the colorist, letterer, at least 5 artists in that respect. And who always takes the most time? It's the writer. They'll eat up all the time, and everyone else on the line has less and less time to make.
Because they're first.
Book. Yeah. And it's just because they're first, and for some reason, the editors let them get away with it.
Yeah. I was just listening to Jerry Seinfeld's thoughts on writer's block. They were pretty interesting.
Uh-huh.
He was like, "There's no writer's block." Like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, "There's just your expectations. You expect to write something good. You can sit down and write something bad all the time. Just keep writing bad stuff, and you say, maybe I'll get something out of this someday." And you put it aside, and you write some more bad stuff. Writer's block is just you expecting to write good stuff, and you can't.
Yeah, it's just go ahead and write. Write the bad stuff. It's like the you have to do like 5,000 bad drawings before it may get good. And it was like, but they keep changing that number. It'll change to either 5,000 hours or 5,000 bad drawings.
10,000 hours is what one book said. That's the code of it. You have to put 10,000 hours into something to become an expert at it.
And it's like, okay, so you got to get all the bad drawings out. And I find that sometimes it's like, the bad drawings are going to show up whenever they show up.
Yeah.
And the good drawings will show up, kind of a thing. It's like, it really depends on just about anything.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're not afraid of the line, that you could just keep going. The flow happens, but it's getting rid of that first bad line.
Yeah. I was just discussing with one of my students. He was like, he was saying, I'm trying to make every drawing special. I'm like, you're not going to be able to. The law of averages says so. We got to do that. I'm like, doesn't mean you don't try.
Right, exactly.
But you have to accept that the law of averages says some of them are going to be good, some of them are going to be bad. It's all going to average out. But that's one of the hardest things to do as a young creative person, is accept that you just made something bad and move on. Put it out of your mind.
Yeah.
It's like an athlete having a bad play. You can't let that happen. You just got to say, next play.
Yeah.
You can't let that linger in your mind, especially comic book artists, because all those panels are not going to be good.
Exactly.
Comic book artists have to draw so many panels that even for the best artists, some of them are going to be clunkers.
Yeah. It's like telling.
And whenever you have an artist is really slow, that's why. they're a perfectionist who can't let alone a panel that they didn't 100% like.
Yep.
That's always the cause.
Being done is more important than being perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was like my favorite thing to tell the students is like, when you're working in comics and you're working in art, the best thing I ever saw was original artwork. And you look at it and you see there's whiteout on it. Oh, these guys make
Yeah.
mistakes and they fix them. Oh, that lifted so much anxiety off of me. When you look
Watching
at the
Mark
physical
Teixeira
artwork.
work was like, whoa.
Yeah,
Because he
it's
was
amazing to
painting
watch.
with that whiteout.
Yep.
I actually saw a TikTok on that where a guy was talking about there's a series on manga artists of them in their studio working. And the guy said he really liked the series because it wasn't your usual sort of art video where everything is sped up. You got to see them actually how slow they worked. And he
Right.
said you got to see something like one of his favorite artists there would get stuck and just stare at the page for 10 minutes. And then there was another of his favorite artists who said he always got a lot of anxiety about having to draw out the whole page perfectly. So he'd start drawing and inking at the same time and just be constantly fixing things. So he'd draw a face once, not like it, white out over the whole thing. Draw it again, not like it, white out over that. Draw it a third time until he finds. So it's like his pages were so caked with white out. But you of course couldn't tell from the finished printed version. But this guy was like, "Oh, that was so cool seeing that."
Still, my boss used to say, "The perfect is the enemy of good."
Right.
Yes.
You can't be stuck on perfect, especially if you have a deadline.
Right.
And regarding writer's block, no better source of inspiration than a deadline.
Yeah. Some people can't work until they got that deadline pressure on them. I never understood that.
Yeah, I understood it. There's this weird thing with it where you can the knowing that there's a date helps.
Yeah.
And kind of a thing, because if you're like told, oh, get it done anytime, that gets put at the bottom of the list so many times.
Yeah,
I want to
you
get
have a week to
everything-
write. You have a week to write something. You can write during that week. You think I can write anything.
Yep.
You have 1 day to write something. You can't write anything. You have to write this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you have to write now, because that's the
weird-
only thing you can.
And the other weird thing is that if you're told a deadline that you have to get this done by Friday 2 p.m., it can't go any further. For some reason, you'll get it done by Friday 2 p.m. Not 1 p.m. at 2 p.m. But it's like, oh, you now have to 4 p.m. It won't get done until 4 p.m.
Yeah.
It's
Watching Tech's work used to be like his schedule because he has a month to do a book. He's penciling and inking. He's got a month to do Ghost Rider. So the first week we wouldn't see him, like because he used to work in the bullpen a lot. He used to like to come in and work, do his freelance, artwork there. Of course, we always loved having him around.
right.
But we'd never see him that first week of the month because he was busy recovering from the last month. That second week of the month, we'd see him. He'd be penciling some stuff, doing a little drawing, procrastinating, doing whatever. That third week of the month, he'd hunker down a bit. He'd really be drawing. He'd get some pages done. Third week of the month, he'd have half the book done. That fourth week of the month, he'd be working like a madman. He'd be staying up late, drawing, so that by the end of that fourth week, he finally had the thing done, and he was exhausted, which is why we didn't see him the next first week of the month. But he did that like clockwork. I was always just like, I'm the kind of person who plans things out. I'm the kind of person, especially if I'm doing a job, like a paying job, I want it out of the way as fast as possible so I can work on my own stuff. So I'm always like, give me the work, I'm getting it done. I don't want to wait around and have some. If I can get it done today, it's getting done today, because that means I can have my own time back.
Right. Okay, but you get it done today. You just don't tell the person you're delivering the job.
I have done that too. I'm not going to say I haven't done that.
Yeah, you got definitely not pull miracles, because then that's expected of you.
No.
Sometimes you want to get it done early and get it out the door to just get
Unless
paid for it and not worry about it.
Unless they have more things for you. In case they ask you, "Hey, have you done that thing yet?" Because I have they have to tell you, because I have this thing that I need. Yeah, okay. I'll send you that thing in 5 minutes, and you can give me the new one. But only on that situation.
Captain Lou says, what did Douglas Adams say? I love deadlines. I love the whooshing noise they make as they go by. I think when you're like an individual writer like Douglas Adams, who they're waiting for your next novel, I think those people have a lot more leeway.
But Douglas Adams was a commercial writer. He knew deadlines.
Oh, okay. That and deadlines are often made up.
Sure.
Yeah. Like I always tell my students too, I'm soft on deadlines. The only real deadline is the end of the semester. That's, if you don't have it done by then, oh well, your grade's going to reflect it. Besides that, this is due in 2 weeks. Let's try to get it done in 2 weeks. But if you need an extra week, okay.
When my newspaper was coming out on Mondays, they gave us a 6 p.m. deadline at the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
But we knew that the newspaper would only go to print at 3 in the morning. Still, we had
like
the.
If you can work that
out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can work that out with your pre-press and print guys, you're okay. Then you have to work with them. Like they have to know you're going to get it in.
Yeah.
And trust you.
Because sometimes we had things that we knew we were only going to get done at 8, and the editor would be would have to go on a phone. Okay, this week it's at 8, which means you're going to have to. But we knew we were done way before we had to go to print, especially because our newspaper was a low print run, and it was there to keep the machines running because we didn't turn a profit. We were losing about $20,000 a year 20 years ago, which is kind of funny. I mean, it's not much. It's not much. $20,000 a year for a weekly newspaper. If you divide it, we were losing.
No.
Yeah, we were losing $400. We're printing something, and it only loses $400. Okay,
that's not too bad.
Right, but we kept. But if the printer wasn't running, the publisher would lose a lot more than $400 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
We can end with a read, rip, and slab. I'm going back to 1981 in May.
Right.
3 comics that I actually bought. Let's see. Let me share my screen. Take you back to Jared's May? That makes it my freshman year of high school. Oh, hold on. I didn't share it. What happened? There it is. There it is. We have got Uncanny X-Men number 148 with a Dave Cockrum cover. New Teen Titans number 10 with a George Perez cover, and Daredevil 174 with a Frank Miller and Klaus Janson cover. 3 good comics. I bought them all off the shelf, all off the stands, and liked each one of them. This is when I first started. I didn't start buying DC comics until that George Perez Teen Titans.
And here, I've read all 3 as well. And what I can tell you is that issue of X-Men is probably the weakest of the bunch.
What happened?
And even then, it's not weak, because that's the first appearance of Caliban.
Ah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I did buy that eventually. That's one of the bad.
I actually don't remember specifically what's in any of these. I haven't read them in so long. Like that Teen Titans one, I couldn't tell you.
I don't think I read that Teen Titans one. I'm pretty sure I have that X-Men one, and I may have had that Daredevil one. I know I didn't buy them when they first came out. These would have been
Daredevil. I assume he's fighting the Hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember that New Teen Titans. Why don't I remember that New Teen Titans? I know I've read it because I've read all the.
I know I've read it too. It's right over there on my shelf or in the other room.
Let me go to the GCD and see.
I'm going to read New Teen Titans because I never read it. I'm going to read that one. I'm going to make it hard for what's going to be ripped and what's going to be slabbed.
Yeah, it's tough to rip something here.
That's a tough one. Because you know what? The X-Men cover looks so neat. There's just something about it that looks a lot of fun that's like, that should be slabbed because that you could talk about it. It's really cool. But to destroy a Frank Miller, I'm going to do it. All right. I'm going to rip Daredevil. Straight down the middle and finally separate Elektra and Daredevil. That's a bad relationship anyway for Daredevil. So I'm going to
Gladiator right in half.
Right in half. And so slab the X-Men because it looks so cool. And I get to read Titans because I never read that story.
Cavern was good at covers, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something very cartoony about that cover, very animated type of thing.
I love the little inset of Dazzler. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very busy cover, though. I mean, because Caliban's in shadow, holding Kitty. And then you have Dazzler's inset with all the lights that she makes because they were at the Dazzler concert in the story. And Spider-Woman's a guest because this was because right after they had found Carol Danvers in San Francisco because Jessica rescues Carol and then they get Professor X to help, so she goes to New York with them. She stays there after she goes with the Avengers. She goes with the Avengers to fight the Brotherhood in Avengers Annual number 10. So she stays there a while. So what am I gonna do?
Let's see what our audience says. Eric P is gonna read X-Men, slab DD, and rip the Titans. 62 is gonna read DD, slab the Titans, and rip the X-Men. Sleepy, slab the Titans, rip X-Men, and read Daredevil. Right on, Lefty. And let's see, Eric P. Flamingos on the outside of the circles. Dolphin Dazzler. I like the dolphining of Dazzler.
I do too.
Picking these 3 was an act of sadism on Jared's part. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to read Daredevil, slab Titans, and because that's actually a good it's almost a good poster if it wasn't for the Terminator insert in there. Because that's that. And I'm going to rip X-Men.
Like I said, I try to get 3 books that are equal in some way.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to read Daredevil, slab the X-Men, and I'm going to have to rip the Titans.
To keep with the tradition, I'm going to replace Kitty with the dolphin because you can't have a guy holding a woman.
Right,
Oh,
right,
that's
right, right.
right. That's
So we're going
right.
to keep that in the tradition. And then again, in a weird way, the flamingos are going to go with the Titans, watching the missiles coming down. So we're going to go back to the origins of the flamingos.
Ah,
They're going to be right on the bullseye. They're going to be right in that back area behind the Titans.
I'm gonna
Going,
do
oh
something.
no, not again, to
Yes.
bring
I'm
in
gonna do
Douglas
something
Adams.
unexpected. I'm going to flamingo the bomb.
I was thinking about that too, but it was
I
like,
was
oh,
going
I
to
want to put.
dolphin the bomb.
No, no, yeah, exactly. You know, I'm gonna
Yes, yeah.
dolphin. I'm gonna dolphin the bomb, and I'm gonna put the flamingos on Electra and Daredevil's shoulders.
I was going to put the flamingos on the tips of the swords on Daredevil. So they're sitting on the swords going, "Hey, this isn't good." Ooh, I just thought of since Paolo is going to dolphin the bomb, I'm going to dolphin the shadow of the hand behind Daredevil and Elektra.
Hmm.
So there'll be dolphin shadow back there with a sword. I'm not sure how he's going to be holding the sword, but
Dolphin
the
will figure it out.
flamingos could replace the ninja shadows. No, the flamingos don't replace anything, remember. The
No,
dolphin replaces something. The flamingos are added. Those are our crazy rules.
hmm.
Don't ask me why that's so important, but it is.
That's part.
There's
That's
a
part of the
distinction
game, and the game has rules.
that have evolved over time. Ah, those are some of my childhood comics right there. Though I was never a huge fan of the Cockrum X-Men. I bought it all, of course, but I much preferred the Byrne X-Men.
When Cockrum returned, it wasn't the same thing as in the beginning. But then again, it
Yeah.
wasn't the same inkers. Oh,
Yeah. Rules are rules, that's Levy.
exactly.
There are rules.
The thing is, this issue of X-Men in particular, even though it introduces Caliban, the action only happens on the last pages, so it's pretty much a quiet issue until the last 5 pages.
Mm-hmm. I gotta go pull that Uncanny X-Men off my shelf and look at that cover now, because I'm really liking it looking at it here. I don't think I've seen it in 25 years, despite it being on my shelf.
And it's funny
It's
because
gonna have to go in one of my my top of my printer covers of the week, maybe this week.
yeah.
I'm
And then it's
enjoying
funny how
seeing
you
it.
could see the it's a shadow of Caliban, but you're not too sure. Why didn't they go for a solid black? But then again, it just wouldn't work so well. And
Yeah,
that
that purple color
bluish,
works with the color scheme.
yeah.
And I guess they were keeping him mysterious. And it's an all-female X-Men cover too. Was the issue them? You said they were there going out to the club, Paolo?
Yeah, yeah. It's a girls'
So it was
night
a
out.
ladies' night out.
Yeah.
Ladies'
And I
night
guess
out. Wow.
Claremont wanted an excuse to use Dazzler again because Jim Shooter kind of stolen her away for the main series.
Hey, there's a maximize on the covers too. What does that do? Oh, look at that. It goes to
Oh,
just
look.
them. Takes us away.
Yeah.
Doesn't make them that much bigger though. That was a good one. I enjoyed that one. I'm going to replace a couple we used in 80s last week. So I want to make 2 new 80s this week.
Yeah, but
That's
the
my
80s,
plan.
yeah, the 80s are pretty busy in terms of new material, so we
Yeah,
know there's always
Yeah.
some good stuff there.
Yep. And we know the 80s. We're more familiar with it than the 40s,
Yeah.
which I love too, but I'm not that familiar with the 40s.
And
Yeah,
once
Wilson.
I did a real rip and slab with only French comics, and everybody was What the hell am I looking at here?
Wilson missed the very beginning of the show. We were talking about, this just popped into my head again, counterfeiting comics. How come nobody has tried to like counterfeit a Batman #1? That I know of, at least. And we're discussing the possibility and how hard it would be.
It would be pretty hard.
But you got to figure if it's a comic you can make $1 million on, that means the number I threw out was spend 50 grand counterfeiting a Batman #1 or whatever. That would be a small investment. And people counterfeit currency.
Right.
But
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if maybe like us, they can't find newsprint.
Well, I said you could get an old comic and fictionize it, maybe. Because I got to figure you'd need the knowledge of an actual counterfeiter to do this.
Right.
You would need like they carve plates for money. If you're a counterfeiter who can carve a plate for $100 bill, you could probably carve a plate for Batman #1.
I think
it would take a while.
I would guess that the clientele to buy said item is so small than, let's say, counterfeiting a painting that you could sell to anyone. Counterfeiting Batman #1, you would have to sell it to kind of a fan of Batman who has that
I think
kind of money.
nowadays there are people investing in comics like that, so I don't think selling it would be a problem.
But the investors
You'd have
would
to be able to
be
fool
buying
CGC.
That's where, so you have to be able to fool them. And they seem to know when a book has been tampered with.
Yeah, like that. I don't know. You would think if you could fake a Rembrandt, which has been done plenty of time.
Right.
You know, if you could fake an old master painting, maybe somebody could fake I don't know what kind of criminal would be interested in that. Maybe it's just that criminals have never been interested in that before.
It probably is that. There's also the cynical side of like, well, most of the people who are forging the paintings are the experts evaluating the paintings. You know, because there's way too many. Because I love a heist. I love watching shows about heists and stuff like that. But again, it's like a lot of that is whoever the expert is. That's where the flaw is.
I think if you could make a good copy, fooling CGC would be easy enough. I don't think, because they have no experience in somebody making a faked. Maybe they have faked action #1, and maybe it's never been uncovered. Who knows? And once it's slabbed, who's going to be able to look at it?
Right.
Like, fooling CGC would be the main thing. Well, we're going to be on Paolo's channel next week.
Yes.
It's time for us to wrap up. Some balloons for you.
I'm going to see about.
We always like to end with a little confetti. Some lasers.
Lasers.
All right, it's been fun as always talking with everyone out there, and you too.
Have a great weekend.
So go out there, try to make some Action Comic #1. See how you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll catch you next week.
It's not counterfeit.